Hello, hello, hello. How's it going? How's it going? I just want to make a quick video. Headed back home. Just waited at Toyota for like 2 hours for some floor mats, and I never got them, so I gotta go back and get them. I'm in my new vehicle. This is my new company car. Yeah. I want to talk about how important we are as black people. You know, nothing against any other race. You know, my kids are biracial. My wife is Native American and Hispanic. She's mixed. I believe that every other race on this planet can see our potential more than we can. What I mean by that is, and if that wasn't the case, then you wouldn't have other races of people emulating black culture. In other words, it's almost like a naturally strong person being able to do stuff that other people can't do, but not realizing how strong they are. One prime example I'm going to get on, because my wife and my daughter are BTS fans to the core. BTS is a Korean boy band. I'm sure that a lot of you have heard of BTS. BTS, I don't even give them a chance, because it's something about them that just I wouldn't say rubbed me the wrong way. I look at them like, my question is, are you giving any money, all this money that you're making, and the actual group members are probably not even making money, a lot of money, as much money as they should. The members of the group are probably they're probably on the bottom of the totem pole, but there are other companies making billions of dollars off of this group. And I look at it like, every move, every dance move, all your swag, everything about the group and groups like BTS comes from the black culture, comes from African American culture. Everything. I'm not saying just a few things that I'm noticing. I mean, I'm looking at them like, this is the same shit, you know, New Edition was doing back in the day. The Boys, you know, Usher, Trey Songz is doing it, Chris Brown, and they're doing it from the carbon copies. They're doing it from originality. They're coming off the top of their heads or whatever, doing it from just common everyday living as a black person. But BTS and groups like BTS are emulating black people, and I just wonder, because I don't know for a fact, but I wonder, what are they doing? Because the culture is bred from poverty. Martin Luther King said, ignorance poverty breeds ignorance, but also poverty breeds creativity. I was telling you guys the other day, I grew up in that little trailer. I read a poem about it this morning, but my mind came up with some of the most creative ideas just being poor, because you have nothing else to do but dream. You have nothing else to do but dream and hope and pray to get out of the situation. Once you realize you're poor, there's nothing else to do but dream to get out, because you don't have the money to physically buy a car and drive somewhere, go on vacation. Vacation was grandma's house. that was vacation growing up. So yeah, Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, poverty breeds ignorance. I say that's true, but poverty also breeds creativity. Poverty brought about something called hip-hop, this billion-dollar thing that's pretty much leading the way in everything. So to get back to what I'm saying, groups like BTS, and I'm probably going to put BTS in the title, not in a derogatory way. I'm not going to diss them or anything like that, but I'll make it known that what I feel about them is that, hey, it's cool to emulate the culture. That's fine and dandy. But please do something to help the culture. And you may be doing something, but what you're doing probably don't measure to what you're taking from the culture. And again, I know people are going to watch this, BTS fans, because it's millions of BTS fans. I got 2 of them in my house. I won't even go into detail how much of fans they are. And we get into arguments all the time. I'm like, look, these guys are emulating black culture. That's all they're doing. Because if they wasn't emulating black culture, they would be doing Korean stuff. They would be doing things that they know, that their parents grew up on. But I mean, I'm not saying that their parents didn't grow up on R&B or soul, rhythm and blues, and or rap music. But all of that comes from black culture too. All of that. That's black people. We don't get credit. And going back to, we don't even know our own greatness. We don't know our own greatness. Every other race know how great we are but us. Some of them are jealous. A lot of them are jealous. You know? And this is a controversial topic because, you know, people don't like talking about race, and people don't like talking about black. They don't like to put black or African American and greatness in the same sentence, unless you're talking about Martin Luther King Jr. or even Muhammad Ali or Michael Jordan or somebody like that. But guess what? I've seen, me and my wife have talked about this, and she even brought this up. She'll say, you know, she'll see a little white kid doing a dance, and it's a black dance, and it's good. They're doing good, but she knows where that dance came from, and she'll say it, you know, because they got to go to a school to learn that dance, or they have to watch videos over and over to emulate that dance. We come up with dances. Those dances came from the top of some little kid's head. Just, you know, because we're in tune with that vibration. That dance came from a vibration, and we're in tune with the vibrations. You know? So yeah, that's my, you know, I was at the Toyota dealership just looking on YouTube, looking at videos, and I saw one video. I don't know, I can't remember what I saw, but it came to my head, and I'm like, I gotta speak on this, because wow, what came to my head was how, okay, we can be in a competition, in a race. The young lady from Dallas, Texas, man, I can't remember her name. She's 21 years old, same age as my daughter. I'm looking at the greatness on this little girl, man. She's 21 years old, beautiful little girl, orange hair, long nails like Flojo, and she's only 5 feet tall. Small little girl, small. But when you see racers, the athletes, lined up for the race, oh man, I got a tingle in my throat, excuse me. But when you see them lined up to race, and you see these black faces, and sprinkled in there may be Hispanic, maybe white, your mind is not even on the other people in the race. You're looking at those little black girls, young black ladies, wondering who is going to be. Because you know, when it comes to athletics, we dominate. We dominate. Now, what we don't realize, and I haven't plugged my books or anything in a while, but what we don't realize is we're also intelligent. Highly intelligent. So much so that we don't even realize how smart we are. Listen, the tests, the subject matter, the school system is rigged against little black kids. And I don't mean, I'm not on a conspiracy now. It could be a conspiracy, but I'm not on that. Coming up in school, this is my biggest issue coming up in school. I did terrible in school. Terrible. I was bored. But my biggest issue, right, in history class, we're learning about all these white men, old white men, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Andrew Jackson, and they show pictures and all these things. And I grew up in South Carolina, so the Southern Confederates, John C. Calhoun. And I'm looking at these guys. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care to know about these people because they don't look like me. No offense to them. Hey, they did great things. Oh, okay, cool. I mean, slavery is not great, but as far as the what do you call them? The founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin. Cool. They did good things. I guess, I don't know. As far as Andrew Jackson, I mean, the guy killed more slaves, probably slaves too, but more Native Americans than oh my goodness. If you don't know what the Trail of Tears is about, man, look that up. But my biggest issue was, all we have is Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington. I mean, it was a handful, maybe 5, 6 people. Mostly slaves. Nothing of any real substance came out of history for me. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So when I say, and that's just one example of what I mean when I say it was geared against us. More so than that, like growing up poor, you don't learn certain things. Like I told you guys, I read my first book when I was 15 years old. I'm a writer now, but it takes a lot of research to write. I took a adult ADHD test, and this was like maybe 5 years ago, because I prior service, so I wanted to take the test as a veteran and see if I could not get disability for it, but get medication. And I got medication. I got Adderall. And so I took the test, and sure enough, ADHD. But some of the things on the test, questions like, maybe simple questions for certain people, but growing up poor, you don't hear certain things spoken in your household, like a trellis. I didn't know. I knew what it was. I know how it worked. A trellis. The thing that plants go up. Like vine plants, cucumbers or whatever, they go up a trellis and attach to it. I didn't know what it was called. I still don't even know the thing that the painters use. I would have to look this up if I wrote about it. The thing that the painters use, they put the paint on. I think it's called the easel, or what is it called? Somebody put it in the comments on that. But there's so many things that if you grow up poor, you just don't hear. You don't hear it. Now you go to the school system, And if you don't have a photogenic memory, how are you gonna know some of these questions? How are you gonna know some of these, how to navigate through some of the curriculum? You know, so that's what I mean. That's another example of what I mean by the school system is geared against not only poor black kids but poor kids in general. You know, because in a poor household, you may have one person in the household who did well in school, maybe went to college for a year or community college or whatever. You know, it's really highly unlikely that they're college graduate in a poor household. You know, so the whole way of teaching kids, poor kids, is not necessarily because I've seen poor kids do well in school, do well enough to get an academic scholarship, and those same kids, you know, later on in life they find out I'm a writer, and we talk, and I'm listening to them, and I'm like, wait a minute, I thought, didn't you go to college for 4 years? Like, didn't you? You know, these same people are not as smart as I thought they were. You know what I mean? So there's as far as vocabulary goes, our vocabulary is not as stacked, not as broad as middle class white person. So yeah, let me get back to BTS, man, and other groups like that. We, you know, I don't mind people taking. It says a lot when half the world acknowledge your culture as a culture that originates a lot of things, hip hop, R&B, you know, blues. I think country music comes from blues. You know, we drive the culture forward. That's what we do. That's what we do. We are the carbon copies, you know, and being the carbon copy, you can't get mad, you can't be surprised when a lot of people copy you. My only issue is us not realizing our own potential. You know, I'm the only writer. Yeah, well, no, it's two other writers in my family, I think. Maybe two, maybe one other one, and it's a cousin that I don't even know. But me going out on a limb to write, to put that out there, to put it out to the world that I'm going to attempt to write, to be a writer, to write books. I had to go against a lot of grain, man. I had to go against a lot of grain because people are looking at me sideways, like, "What, writer? What are you talking about, writer? What are you gonna write?" I'm like, "Stories. What kind of stories? You know, fictional stories." Well, where'd you get that? Nobody can comprehend that. Nobody can understand that. You know, because nobody else has ever seen it. Now, so I look at it like, if I never, ever have a best-selling book, I have nieces and nephews and little cousins who look up to me and say, "Oh, man," you know, and I know the imaginations are there. So they can look at me like, you know, Uncle Anthony, they call me Anthony, Uncle Anthony did it, or Cousin Anthony did it, you know, maybe I can do it. So that's how I see it. And you got other people out there, other black people out there who probably have dreams of doing things and just never pursue them because one is they think it's too hard, two because nobody else has done it, and three, they don't want to fail. They don't want to fail, not in the eyes of themselves, but the eyes of others. I have never been scared to fail at anything. Never. The way I look at it, the way I look at it from a boy to now, I consider myself, I consider myself unfailable because of my circumstances. Growing up in a household as dysfunctional as it was, not knowing my biological, and just believing that my biological didn't want me. That alone right there was enough to put me on a path to say I can't fail. I was born a failure. That's how I saw it. So there's only one place from here. I can't go any lower than where I'm at. There's only one place from here, and that's how I grew up. That was my mentality. If I failed at something in life, I didn't care too much about it unless I hurt somebody doing it. Like, if I failed, showed up late to a soccer game and my kids, that was, I took that personal. But if I failed a grade in school, or which I did, or whatever it was, failed PT test in the Army, which I did. It was stressful and all that stuff, but I didn't look at it like, oh, my life is over, I'm through, I'm done. No, I was born done. I was born without my biological father there to raise me. And I knew that from an early age because my mom told me, this is not your real daddy. My mom did that. She said, this is not your real daddy. Your daddy is blah, blah, blah. And, maybe one day you'll see him, maybe one day you won't. But that's what it is. And I'm glad she did that. She didn't lie to me. So I just want more people, more black people, to realize that you are something special. You are something very special. Know that. Take that to work with you. I'm not saying be egotistical. I'm not saying need to go out and yell it out to the world or anything like that. But I want you to feel like you are worth something, because you are. You truly are. And everybody else knows it but you. Everybody. Every other race. When a black person walk in the room amongst other people, they see you. Not because they're scared of you or they have something against you. They know that potential was there in you. They know it. So just know that. I just made it home. I'm going to go and upload this video. Listen, I got to say this too. This last week, I got home last night. I think I said it on the other video. I got home last night at 11 something, I think. This is after standing on my feet. Not sitting down. Because my job demands this. I work in hospitals on blood analyzers, and man, I got home at like 11 something, took a shower, went to bed, and I had to be back in to another hospital at I told them I would be there at 12, but then I was like, nah, let me go and get in. So I got there at 10, and I'm just coming. Then I had to go and get some floor mats because my vehicle didn't come with floor mats. So calling around. Finally, they said you can go to the dealership. We'll send the PO. So I go there. An hour later, the guy comes out and says, well, we're still waiting on them to call back with the PO number and blah, blah, blah. I said, oh, fine. I told him, I said, y'all need to get some beds in here because I'm sleepy. And another hour go by. I finally stand up. I'm like, I can't do this. I got to get out of here. So I go and tell the guy to bring my car around. I'll come back for the floor mats because I'm not doing this right now. Anyways, I wanted to wait to make this video because I wanted to be more, fresh. I like to make these videos, just like when I to write. I like to be fresh. Maybe 30 minutes after waking up or something. Um, but yeah, that's my issue. That's if I'm like seem like I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to say. I'm tired. Damn it. And much love to everybody. Miss Kathy. Nisi. There's more people out there too. But thank all you guys for the love. I appreciate it. Um, and I wasn't trying to look sexy with my shirt off. I was hot and just tired and trying to wake up. But anyways, let me get in here. You guys stay cool and God bless.